Andre 3000 and Rick Rubin sat down and had a conversation about 5 years ago. What's changed? I'm Sean, Lonegevity with Bringing Down the Band and the New Old Heads podcast, and this is my Unpacked series where I go deeper on New Old Heads segments and some other stuff as well. This particular segment is from episode 165, which is crazy because we're on episode 443 right now. The Andre 3000's interview with Rick Rubin.
I listened to
it, I mean.
Probably 3/4 of it. I listened
Some of it.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't catch it.
Yeah, it was good.
What'd he say?
It's good insight. Well, Rick kind of pretty much, he just sat down and asked him some questions, asked him what he was listening to, asked him what he's been creating, and Andre was pretty candid with his responses of saying that he's just not in a creative space. And he definitely feels the pressure of, he doesn't want to he knows that people will go and get his material, but he doesn't want to put anything out unless it's as good as what he wants it to be. And so he said he's been tinkering a little bit, but he doesn't feel extra inspired. He also talked about feeling. So that's interesting. So this was before the flute album. This was also before the random piano album. So maybe that's what the tinkering was. The tinkering back then was him being a flute player and tinkering around playing his flute. He has done a handful of verses forth and back, but isolated. He said it's different being a successful artist and the isolation that kind of comes with that, and but wanting to feel regular. So it's it was a good interview.
I think he's really
Why is Mike's mic like that?
Lone and we talked about this prior to us starting. The Outkast standard is so high. Like, that's no matter what he puts out. Like, if it's not the greatest of all time, people are going to be like, man, they should, somebody's going to have something to say. And I think that messes with them mentally. Just the fear of, maybe possibly letting down people like us that grew up on Outkast and stuff like that. But I don't think he's going to ever get over it until, it's not going to be something someone can force him to do. Like, he's going to have to come to grips with it first before he tries to put it out.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of seen that continually, like him putting out the flute album was him just kind of like doing some stuff. He got nominated for a Grammy. It probably shouldn't have, but it got nominated for a Grammy. I mean, I did a whole project based on that where I sampled every record from his flute album, Lone Love Andre. So check that out, all one word if you're interested. But it wasn't really a great musical album, but it was cool that he was like, it was cool as a lifelong Outkast and Andre 3000 fan. He's somebody who's like in my top 5 of MCs of all time. To see him as a creative do some more creative things and to see him be in his essence, I guess, and so from that perspective, it was really cool. I think just us rap fans and us people that just look at Andre as such the spectacular, one-of-a-kind wordsmith MC that he is. It's just, we see him over here playing flute and tinkering around on piano, and we're just like, man, where are the bars at, But he's still kind of in that place, But man, I would love to hear an Andre project.
I also think, listening to him, this is why we haven't received another Outkast album. Like, it goes hand in hand, like a solo joint from him or another Outkast album. Like, I think all of that is just been on him because
probably just got worse through the years. Like it just keeps compounding.
Because Big Boy's probably got, if I was to guess, maybe 3 or 4 solo albums since their last. Boomerverse. He had Sir Lucius Left Foot, and then there was another one in between there, I believe.
He had a joint album with.
This was when Jay Moore was when Brad was still the main person, the main panelist, right? Before he kind of retired. But Jay Moore was just always sitting on the couch with the microphone.
Yeah, real abstract. It was real different.
Was it Stitches?
No,
I have to look at it.
Forget what project that was.
I kind of understand where Andre is coming from. He even spoke about it before, talking about he would prefer to be number 2 because there's always something to strive for.
Right.
But in the same token, if you're used to people telling you you're number 1 all the time,
right,
where else is it to go? And as a creative like that I imagine Andre is, he's probably just stuck in limbo And he's probably still creating some dope shit compared to what's out now.
No question.
But he just doesn't want to let it go.
And that's very true, because we've heard verses. He won a Grammy. He helped Killer Mike get a Grammy for scientists and engineers on Killer Mike's Michael album for that song. Andre has not lost a step when it comes to writing and rapping, but I think to Terry's point here, I think it's still something that we see with Andre, to where like no amount of like fandom from people like me or us at this panel can convince Andre that it's time for him to start writing raps again, you know. And but I will say, you know, like we're all here for these colonoscopy bars, you know. Like I had my colonoscopy last year, you know. I'm in my 40s, you know. It's necessary, you know. We us older people that grew up like that, hey, we need those bars, man, you know, because you know you're not going to revolutionize anything. The interesting thing is Andre 3000 might be the only artist from that era that could potentially come back and create an astronomical swing, push, interesting amount of energy to hip hop. If he dropped, I think he's the only one from that era that could do that, just because of the long suspense behind it. But at the same time, I still don't think that he could ever really, he's older now, you know, like the tides have shifted. It's about Kendrick Lamar. It's about, you know, Drake pretending to be a hip hop artist. It's about the new wave of musicians and stuff like that. So Andre, I think if anything, there's a lot less pressure for an Andre 3000 right now to drop something. Although there is a lot more pressure from, you know, than anybody else. But man, it would take, I can't imagine Andre disappointing on the mic. He never has. Never has. A mid Andre 3000 album is going to be really good. I don't know. He said he's not really creating much at all.
But what about the stuff that he has created? Because at one point, like a year or so ago, he said he has all this stuff that's made, and he was talking about before he died. He doesn't want to die with all of these ideas and songs, never being released. Yeah. So I think he has stuff. He just doesn't have. Maybe he's in a place like Prince. Prince has a vault full of shit that never came out, and he's been.
I do wonder that. I do wonder if, like, at the end of Andre's life, if we're gonna hear about, like, man, Andre has 10 albums, you know, or something like that. Especially because we know he's continued to be creative. So I would be very curious what that looks like. Yeah. And even further, like, I know even my own stuff. You know, I'm an active creative. I do a lot of things, but I've got so much music that has never been released, even though I've released a lot. And so I can only imagine somebody who has the freedom to do this whenever he wants.
Maybe he's just like that and he just wants to keep creating.
It might be not hip hop too, because what he was talking about was really wanting to experiment with different styles of music, and seems like I was right. He one thing that he kept talking about was the he said he's really into instrumental music right now. He said because the words kind of bogged down. You know,
he walks around playing a flute.
Well, there's that
in real life.
But even with all this, I don't know if we ever really thought that we were going to get a flute album from him. You know, I think we all just thought, you know, it's just something that Andre's doing. He also talked about, like, he enjoys going to, like, he enjoys the small, intimate, normal stuff. You know, like he likes going to hole in the wall, like, venues and stuff. He's like, I might put out an album and just play it at flea markets. Yeah. You know, like stuff like that. He's like, as soon as you put music out, then you're on a festival stage and you're so far away from everybody. Yeah. So, I don't know. Which is interesting because he was playing really major, I believe, festival stages with his flute. You know? But there is something to be said about that. Like, as somebody who has played festival stages and has played small stages and hundreds of different types of stages, the stages that you play where it's a little bit more intimate, a little bit more raw, are always funner. As long as, like, especially if the environment is like, it's like the hole in the walls. Those places are always so much fun. Like, it's cool to say, oh, I played this festival or whatever, but it's fun playing the small stuff because you finish your stuff and then you get off and you talk to people, you know, and then, or you hang around and it's just like the pressure is so much lower. It's less about like the idea of wanting to be something for people, but just doing stuff and like spreading the talent and just having fun and being in the moment with people. I'm curious, but I absolutely understand what he means, and I can definitely tell that it's definitely weighed on him. It's just it was cool for him to actually share it.
I think the part you said about it possibly being outside of hip hop might be instrumentals, might be, knowing him, it could be jazz, it could be a little bit of anything. I just think that goes back to like the standards, because it's like if Andre 3000 puts out an instrumental jazz album, the first thing people are gonna say is, we don't want that. We want that.
Man, Mike's the prophet. That's what everybody said.
Outkast album.
That's what happened when he put out those 2 jazz records. It was like last year, wasn't it? For like Christmas or some shit?
That was
last
Mother's
year?
Day.
Mother's Day.
Oh, that's
Mother's
right.
Day.
Yeah,
A year or two ago.
Like,
Oh, I'm wearing the same shirt. That's cool. I don't buy clothes very often.
people's initial reaction is always going to be, we don't want to hear that. Where's Big?
Want you to rap.
We want you to rap. We want the Outkast album.
Q-Tip went through something similar because he put out an album, or he's turned in an album after Amplified.
Yeah.
And the record company was like, no.
Yeah.
It was like the Q-Tip, the abstract. It was like, I remember there was a song called Barely in Love, and it was him singing. It was good. They put it out like 12 years later. But
have you heard Renaissance?
Renaissance was dope.
That's incredible.
That was an incredible record.
Yeah, Renaissance was dope. But I could definitely see, to Lone's point, where he's coming from. But I don't know if he truly understands, like,
It's
how
just-
crazy it would be if he did, like, buckle down and put a rap album out, just strictly, I'm talking about rap music. If he put a
He probably
rap,
understands and just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's got to
Maybe
do
he
it
doesn't
for
care.
him, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to work unless he does do it for him. I saw a lot of people saying, "Well, you just got to get in the studio and listen to beats and stuff." Like, that's not how it works.
it's deeper than that. Yeah, it's way deeper than that.
Yeah, go in the studio, man. Listen to some beats and get inspired to write. It don't work like that. I mean, I guess you could potentially like force yourself a little bit, but that's never been how I've written before. It's just it's gotta hit me.
Yeah, because if there's no motivation and there's nothing behind it, like,
You talking about it, artists from a different era too.
True.
He wasn't from an era where you just go in the studio and just listen to beat after beat after beat after beat.
He's not trying to do stuff that like. He's not trying to make Drake records. Like he where it's just like, all right, let me cross one of these 4 things that I do off the list and rinse repeat. Like, he wants to make records. That he wants to put out records that mean something. And so if he doesn't feel like he has anything that means anything, he's just not going to do it.
We're there for that process of actually creating that song around what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
especially with organized noise.
He spoke
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
about the dungeon,
Yeah.
and that importance, coming up. So.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe he needs to get back to his roots, man.
Maybe he's
Big
going
boy
to do
bought
it.
the house.
Yeah,
that's
he did.
right.
It's like
Maybe he's going to do a
Rico-
flute
Rico
album
Waves,
with
man.
Lizzo.
Nah,
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm cool on that. I just rather him just, stay on out the way. I'm cool on that.
Well, this is what happens sometimes when these artists are so successful, because part of a lot of artists' motivation is, I need to get back in the studio so I can make some more money.
Yeah, and he doesn't really.
He cool. Yeah,
He doesn't really have that. He's doing the acting thing, and
Yeah.
definitely interested in all that. So
CeeLo actually said on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just
Yeah.
it's like this bittersweet thing with some people who are ultra creative, like I think Andre is. That it is, like, I don't know, that kind of anxiety and depression seems to run among individuals like that.
Yeah.
he spoke a lot about isolation and struggling with stuff like that. So.
Yeah. But it was just interesting to hear him talk about just, at least that's kind of what I took from it, man. It's almost, I don't know, man, like when you tap into something more, it's heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That is a good point. That is a good point. Like him not making the music too is also definitely very much in his head. Very much, I think it's bigger than just, I don't want to make, I'm not inspired. It seems like it's always been connected with, I don't know, maybe not.
But he's a human. It's it was very personal.
Yeah.
And, he's a human being just like the rest of us too,
To Spool's point, I think that's what makes that the interview dope. You get to hear, like, he's one of my favorite rappers of all time, top 5 easily to me. And when you get a chance to hear the human side of an artist like that you've followed since they started, it's like, to Spool's point, like, these people are humans. Like, they have emotions and they're tied to the music, and stuff bothers people. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's invincible. Like, people go through shit. Like, it was crazy to hear him actually talk about his struggles. You know what I'm saying? From an artist standpoint, But I definitely would be for it, you know, if he ever decided. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, we can't make that decision. Like he's gonna have to do that. But it was really dope to hear.
Yeah. So, well, we were kind of spot on with a couple of our takes there. I would be, you know, who knows, man? Who knows? There were a couple years in between because that segment came out in like 2019, I believe. So I would definitely say that, December 29th, 2019. So, you know, it's almost 5.5 years ago. There were definitely times where I thought like we may not ever hear an Andre verse again, but then we have heard a few. We've heard a couple, and they've been really good. And he just needs that inspiration. I just really hope I hope someday he can get inspired and he can bless us with something and show us the new side of his creativity. You know, he's just one of those artists for me specifically. And there aren't very many for me where when they drop something, I'm like, ooh, I would be ready. I would be eager to listen to that. And he's one of them. So, all right, this has been Unpacked with Lonegevity. That is me. Patreon.com/newoldheads if you want to support the New Old Heads. You can do that for free, or if you're feeling a little courteous, become a $5 member or even $10 member. We do raffles. But yeah, until next time, peace.